In a world hidden beneath the tall, swaying blades of the emerald meadow, lived a very small fellow with a very big heart. His name was Ant. While the morning dew still sparkled like diamonds on the clover, Ant was already awake. He wore a tiny cap made from a bluebell petal and carried a woven basket on his back. Every day he marched through the jungle of grass, looking for seeds and crumbs to take back to his family's underground home. He knew that even though the sun was warm today, the cold days would eventually come. Not far away, lounging on the velvet soft petal of a wild daisy lived Grasshopper. Grasshopper was tall and elegant, with wings that shimmered like stained glass. He didn't have a basket, and he certainly didn't have a bluebell cap. Instead, he held a beautiful golden violin made from a polished twig and spider silk strings. To Grasshopper, life was one long, beautiful melody. He spent his hours playing songs for the butterflies and dancing with the summer breeze, never worrying about what tomorrow might bring. One afternoon, as Ant was struggling to push a heavy grain of wheat, Grasshopper hopped down from his flower. "Slow down, friend Ant," Grasshopper chirped with a wide, friendly smile. "The sun is high, the air is sweet, and my music is calling for a dancer. Why do you spend such a beautiful day working so hard?" Ant stopped for a moment to wipe the sweat from his forehead. "I am gathering food for the winter," Ant replied softly. "I suggest you do the same, Grasshopper. The frost will be here sooner than you think." Grasshopper laughed, a sound like tinkling bells. "Winter? That is a long way off. Look at all this abundance." He waved his bow toward the bushes heavy with berries. Ant sighed and shook his head. He hoisted the heavy grain back onto his shoulder. "Abundance today does not mean full bellies tomorrow," Ant said. He continued his long trek toward the anthill, his tiny feet treading a well-worn path through the moss. He didn't look back, even when Grasshopper began to play a fast, silly tune to tease him. The summer heat grew even stronger. One day, Ant found a wild strawberry that had fallen from its vine. It was a magnificent red treasure, but it was far too heavy for one ant. He pushed with all his might, his tiny muscles straining. Seeing this, Grasshopper didn't offer to help carry it, but he did play a cool, refreshing melody. "Let my music be the wind at your back," Grasshopper sang. He truly believed that his music was just as important as the food Ant was gathering, for it made the meadow a happier place. Slowly, the green world began to change. The leaves on the oak trees turned from emerald to deep shades of pumpkin orange and ruby red. The air grew crisp and smelled of dry earth. Ant didn't stop. He worked double time now, collecting dried corn kernels and hardening seeds. His pantry was almost full, but he wanted to be sure there was enough for everyone. He watched the fallen leaves dance in the wind and knew the time of the great sleep was drawing near. Grasshopper noticed the change too. The flowers he loved to sit on had withered and bowed their heads. The butterflies had flown away, and the wind bit at his thin wings. He tried to play his violin, but his fingers were stiff from the cold. He looked around for a bite to eat, but the berries were gone, and the ground was hard. "Perhaps Ant was right," he whispered to himself, shivering as the first white snowflake drifted down from the gray sky. Soon, the meadow was buried under a thick, white blanket of snow. High above, the wind howled, but deep underground, it was a different story. Ant sat in his cozy living room, which was lit by the soft glow of a bioluminescent mushroom. He sat in a rocking chair made of walnut shells, sipping a warm cup of sweet nectar tea. He was safe, warm, and his belly was full. He felt a deep sense of peace, knowing his hard work had paid off. Suddenly, a faint thump, thump, thump echoed at the heavy wooden door of the anthill. Ant put down his tea and lit a small lantern. When he opened the door, a gust of icy wind blew in, followed by a very cold, very hungry grasshopper. He was covered in frost, and his violin case was dusted with snow. "Friend Ant," Grasshopper trembled, his voice barely a whisper. "I have no home and no food. I was wrong to only play while you worked. May I come in?" Ant looked at his shivering friend and felt a wave of kindness. He reached out and pulled Grasshopper inside. "There is plenty to share," Ant said. That winter, Grasshopper helped by keeping the spirits of the ant colony high with his beautiful music, and Ant taught him how to plan for the future. When the spring sun finally melted the snow, they stepped out together, Ant with his basket and Grasshopper with his violin, knowing that a life of both work and song was the most beautiful melody of all.